Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to today's video. This episode will guide you through the issues of the Uncanny X-Men published by Marvel Comics in 1984. Issue 181.
Issue 181.
In the previous issue we saw how the heroes' base got blown up entirely. They managed to escape and ended up on the run, only to get attacked by the villains again, who were throwing huge boulders at them. Topped off by the Molecule Man, who lifted up an entire mountain range and dumped it right on top of the heroes. In the meantime, the Enchantress tried to seduce the mighty Thor, and when they returned home, they found nothing but rubble where the heroes' base stood minutes before. Now faced with the full might of the villains, the Enchantress decided to desert Thor, who then got attacked by all of the villains at the same time, seemingly getting utterly destroyed. When the X-Men visited Magneto to form an alliance, the Wasp managed to escape after showing her true colors. She's on her way to get back to the heroes, not knowing they are as good as dead, to tell them about how the X-Men are now teaming up with Magneto. As for the heroes, they were saved by the brute force of the Incredible Hulk, aided by the invincible Iron Man, who kept the mountain range slightly lifted from the ground below. Mr. Fantastic found a way to make the Hulk angry so he would become even stronger and have more endurance to keep the mountains lifted, while he himself worked on a way to get them out of there. Finally out of harm's way, they ran into Thor, who apparently somehow was able to escape the villain's attack. Captain Marvel was sent on her way to find a place the heroes could regroup at, and as she scanned the planet with the speed of light, she figured that the best place to stay at would be a small village she had run into. A small village located right at Galactus' feet, who is still just standing on a mountaintop, not moving at all, and seemingly not doing anything. As the heroes settle down and get accustomed to the indigenous people of the village, they find out that one of them is a healer, which will be very useful to them in the war they find themselves in. For some reason, the Thing suddenly starts to revert back into his rocky form again. And even though Mr. Fantastic does have his suspicions, he's not voicing them to his close friend. And then, also suddenly, Mr. Fantastic gets disturbingly shocked because Galactus has started to move and is ominously raising his arms towards the sky. We now continue the story with Secret Wars, issue number 5. The heroes are awestruck. Having taken up refuge in a small village on the strange planet they have become stranded on, they all look up in the sky above them. Something has arrived, and it is huge. Mr. Fantastic feels he should have known this would come. He should have expected it, because Galactus has summoned his home. It took him a while to get it here, all across the universe, and the heroes can only guess why he brought it here. But they sure well know that it's not going to be here for their health, and the indigenous people of the village are getting scared at the sight of this as well. The Torch tries to calm down the people's healer, who has helped the heroes recover only moments ago, but it's no use. They simply do not speak the same language. The Torch wishes they did, because that way he could thank her for healing his busted up ribs. And then maybe he could tell her that he feels they could have a lot more than just a doctor-patient relationship. She tries to take him into her home, and Johnny isn't so sure if this is the right time for any of this, but he does follow her in. She picks up some kind of canister and then says something to Johnny, and he thinks that she's pouring him a drink. But in reality she wants him to join her in some kind of ritual which involves inhaling some form of vapor. Since Johnny trusts this woman, he goes along with it. It's a sweet and strong scent, and Johnny starts feeling weird. It feels like his mind is opening up like a book, and suddenly their minds start linking up, allowing the woman to witness his memories of the recent past, without the hindrance of words and languages between them. She now finds out who all arrived on this planet along with them, and who is who. She also witnesses the creation of this battleworld just how Johnny experienced it when he came here. How it is constructed out of bits and pieces from several planets, including the peaceful planet this woman comes from. She now understands how she and her people are little more than raw material for a war that's being played out. Innocent victims, maybe even hostages. Basically a resource for the warring factions to exploit. And she also hears the words the mysterious force from beyond spoke to all the combatants he plucked from planet Earth to fight this war. Through Johnny's eyes, she experiences everything. Their arrival, but also the battles he has fought since coming here, victories and defeats. The terror of almost being buried alive, and the relief which came from being able to escape that situation. How they all came to this village and how, after meeting her, he was then healed by her. She now understands it all. Johnny, after his first experience with this ritual, thought it was neat and liked how he was able to look into her mind as well. It was like their souls touched. And now they also know each other's names. And her name is Jashi. Having been this close and their souls having touched, they start to kiss with one another. In the meantime, far removed from the village, in the fortress of Magneto, the X-Men Colossus is lying in a darkened chamber, wallowing in loneliness and worry. Wondering where his love Kitty, who he calls Katja, is, and what she's currently doing and if she's safe and doing alright. He would give anything right now just to know something, and he wonders if she misses him as much as he misses her. His plans, his dreams, have all turned to dust. He feels that he is going to die here in this war, billions of miles removed from his Kitty. And even if they would win this war, they have no guarantee whatsoever that this Beyonder will actually return them home. As he is thinking about what he would wish for if they would win this war, and this Beyonder would grant them their heart's desires, he gets hailed telepathically by Professor Xavier, who urgently tells him to come at once. And only seconds later, all the X-Men have gathered in the same room Xavier and Magneto are in. Magneto is amazed with the team's response time, but Xavier not so much. Nightcrawler says that they might have been quicker if his summons hadn't been as invasive as it was. But regardless of that, they are here now and Xavier tells Magneto to retract the dome above them, because he has something to show them all. And all the X-Men are astounded by what they get to see. Xavier tells them that what they are witnessing is the arrival of Galactus' home, as he himself found out by scanning Mr. Fantastic's thoughts. It is clear that Galactus summoned it here, but Xavier tells his students he has no clue why. As the X-Men wonder what all this means, Magneto tells them that they will have to go now and prepare a ship. They will have to move fast because Magneto and Xavier both fear that this arrival foreshadows hostile action on Galactus' part. While they are on their mission, Magneto himself and Xavier will try a more subtle approach, and he tells them to go. Wolverine refuses to take any orders from a man who has been their biggest adversary for years, and Storm tells Magneto that she is their leader now. Cyclops concurs, even though he thinks that he should probably be the leader given his experience and the current situation. Xavier tells his X-Men to listen to him, and that, until further notice, he shall give the orders both here and in the field. He tells them there is no time for discussion, and to please do as Magneto told them. As the X-Men make their way out, Xavier tells Magneto to be careful, and to not act too high and mighty, even if he thinks that's the best way to handle this. Magneto doesn't really respond, and tells Xavier they should get on with it. We then switch to Doombase, where the villains are having some downtime. The Molecule Man and Volcano are taking a stroll, and Owen tells Marcia about his past before the accident which gave him his incredible powers. How people always used to pick on him, by making fun of him and hurting him. The Absorbing Man is just chilling with the Wrecking Crew, and he and Thunderbolt discuss the origin of their ball and chains. Piledriver sees Owen and Marcia coming and starts bullying them by insulting them and calling them names. Marcia really wants to make Piledriver pay for these remarks, but Owen tells her that his therapist told him to not react to these kinds of comments and tells her to come along with him. As they are about to walk off, Marcia tells them she's going to make them very sorry if she hears one more word from these guys, and Piledriver makes fun of them again by calling them Mr. and Mrs. Nerd. Now this single word actually does trigger Owen, so much so that he starts getting angry and energy starts flowing from his hands. He asks who said that word, and Piledriver starts to stutter, asking him what about it. Marcia tells him that she'll show him what about it alright, as she walks towards him and slaps him in the face. Titania is seeing all this unfold from a distance, and can't believe how Marcia is mothering that little wimp, the oh-so-mighty Molecule Man. Piledriver is about to make Marcia pay for the slap, but Owen tells him that he won't do a single thing. because he is the most powerful person in the universe since he controls all molecules. Piledriver begs to differ though, and tells his partners in crime to join him in rearranging the Molecule Man's face molecules. But when he turns his head around, he sees the rest of them basically ignoring the situation and looking at their surroundings and commenting on the weather. Piledriver is all by himself in his confrontation with the Molecule Man, and he now finds himself not being able to move. Owen has simply compressed the molecules in Piledriver's suit and turned them into an ultra-hard, metal-like substance. Owen then simply pushes him and he falls forward flat on his face in some flowers and dirt. Marcia then stomps on Piledriver's head some more and really pushes his face into the dirt. The Molecule Man asks the rest of the wrecking crew and the Absorbing Man if any of them has anything else to say, but they tell him no. But that is not enough for Owen though, as he is still angry and he tells them to address him with Mr. Molecule Man, and the wrecker does just that. Owen then creates a flying chariot, literally out of thin air, and he and Marcia will leave to a more remote location. As the wrecking crew try to liberate Piledriver, since he can't move and can't breathe, Titania rips a tree from the ground and tells them they are stupid cowards, as she would have simply ripped that little twerp in half before he could even have done anything. She then starts to notice something in the sky, something huge. None of them has any clue what this construct is and what it's doing here, and they wonder where Dr. Doom is since he might know what this thing is. He might actually even have something to do with this. As a matter of fact, Dr. Doom had been expecting this arrival of Galactus' home. His own plans are crystallizing as Galactus' plans are becoming clear to him, and timing will be critical. He announces all through Doombase that his servants, as he regards them, are from now on to be on red alert. They should be preparing themselves for battle, ready to strike at once at his command, and he finishes off his announcement by saying that they will be utterly destroyed if they fail him. He then gets approached by the Enchantress, who wants to have a word with him, but Doom tells her that his orders were clear and she would do well to obey them immediately. She tells him that he cannot deceive her, that she senses that the odds are against them and that she is afraid. She then tells him to look at her, that she is a goddess, beautiful, powerful and immortal, and she asks him what she could ever have to gain here, trapped on this world. She wants no part in this war, is what she says, but some kind of barrier is preventing her to flee. She has tried, but she has not been successful. They might be able to escape together, since he is such a clever mortal, and she asks him how he would like it if he had the love of a goddess for the rest of his life. Doom tells her that he would not like that. The Enchantress then tells him that if her beauty holds no charm for him, to then consider his own looks. She could repair the scars that mark his face, which he hides behind his iron mask. Surprised at this, Doom asks her if she could truly restore his face, and the Enchantress tells him that she could easily do that. But Dr. Doom then whisks her away. He says that he knows enough about sorcery to realize that there will always be a hidden prize. He tells her to save her tricks, because she will need them and every ounce of her power in the coming battle. She then drops to her knees and starts begging Doom, saying that she doesn't want to die, that he has no idea what it means for an immortal to face a total and ultimate death. Dr. Doom just looks at her with a penetrating gaze and asks her if she's finished. The Enchantress says that he will regret this, and Doom tells her to be gone and that she has her orders. She then uses her magic, calls him a madman, and vanishes. With her gone, Doom asks if he's truly a madman for striving for an impossible prize, or if it is this striving for something just out of reach which prevents madness from overtaking him, because Dr. Doom, for one, does not fear death at all. In the meantime, in Magneto's lair, Magneto is asking Xavier why it's taking so long. Unaware to Galactus, Xavier is trying to bypass his mental defenses, but his defenses are too strong. They have to keep on trying, keep on pressing in. Xavier tells Magneto to open the barriers to his mind, to let him tap into the deepest pools of Magneto's latent mental powers. If they are able to contact Galactus mind to mind, they might be able to learn his plans and perhaps reason with him. At that same exact moment, at the small village the heroes are located at, the Torch thinks that it's clear the World Eater Galactus is making his move to devour this planet. The Thing asks Mr. Fantastic if that is indeed the case, but Reed doesn't know that for certain. He tells Captain America that he has saved Galactus' life once before, that he, out of all of them, might actually have a chance in communicating with him. Cap doesn't really like the idea of Reed approaching Galactus, because they can't afford losing him, but he knows there's hardly any alternative at this point, and tells him to be careful. Shortly thereafter, Mr. Fantastic stretches out his body, trying desperately to get Galactus' attention, but Galactus pays no attention to Reed whatsoever. Once he has reached up to Galactus' face, Reed shouts out to Galactus, telling him that he must listen to him, that he thinks he knows what Galactus is planning on doing, and tells him that it's madness, that all it will do is guarantee his death, and that he will be taking all of them along with him, and that Galactus knows that this will be the end result. While Reed is trying to reach out to Galactus, Professor Xavier is finding out that they are like gnats to Galactus, and that Galactus' mental defenses are far too much for them to bypass, even with Galactus at rest. But Magneto is not having that. Galactus will acknowledge them, if it is up to him, and he starts pouring it on, causing a surge. And while Reed is still trying to convince Galactus to try and approach the Beyonder together, Galactus glances away, sensing something clawing at the fringes of his consciousness. Magneto's efforts actually gain some of Galactus' attention, and instinctively, Galactus aims a massive wave of psionic feedback to the source of this disturbance, with devastating effect, and it damages Magneto's lair. Not only that, but Galactus has now become aware of Reed Richards as well, and he forces Reed back with a telekinetic burst. Reed asks Galactus to please not do this, and to hear him out, but it is of no use. Cap and Spidey try to comfort him, saying he tried and that as long as he's okay, there's no harm done. But Reed explains to them that they do not understand. With Galactus just having been attacked, and now being aware of the hero's presence here, they are in incredible danger. And Galactus then unleashes the proverbial cat out of his home to deal with the vermin at hand. And the heroes are in big trouble as it starts attacking them. No questions asked. And all the while the heroes are tangled up in combat, Galactus starts assembling a massive machine from modules he beamed down from his ship as well. The heroes seem to not be able to withstand the robot's attack, and one by one they fall. It has gotten a hold of Spider-Man and the She-Hulk as it fires some kind of material at the other heroes it's fighting with, which paralyzes them all. But Captain America has a plan. He instructed the Torch and the Thing on what to do, as he throws his shield at one of the robot's eye. The Thing manages to grab a hold of the robot's arms and holds him tight on his back, as he tells the Torch to hurry up. The Torch then fires a beam of fire right into his mouth, and he hopes there's something meltable on the inside. It seems like there is, as the robot's chest starts to explode and the threaded post seems to be over with. The heroes came out of this battle unscathed, but the dangers are not over yet, as Spider-Man's spider sense is buzzing again, and Hawkeye tells everyone to look up ahead, only to find out that Doom's men have just arrived. And with the heroes being exhausted from the battle they just had, they will surely be easy pickings. There seems to be some division amongst the villains of whether they are truly easy pickings, since the mountain they had dropped on them the last time around didn't finish them off either. But there is no mistaking their ferocity, as they are all aiming to kill. Meanwhile, not that far away, Dr. Doom himself is watching the events unfold. It is no surprise to him to find out that the heroes had survived the villain's previous attack. And, as it happens, he finds their presence here to be extremely convenient. There is no need now to send his own forces in a direct assault on Galactus, something which would have surely annihilated them all. But this battle between the heroes and the villains in Galactus' immediate vicinity will serve just as well. All Dr. Doom really needs is a split second of Galactus' attention being drawn to the battle playing out at his feet. The villains unleash all their firepower and the heroes are forced to fall back. Captain America tells everyone to give them some ground, but to keep returning fire to blunt their first attack. They have to try and slow them down, and once they have survived their initial attack, when Cap gives the order, they will dig in and hold their ground. But as Ultron's energy rays and Volcano's thermal blast intersect, it turns out to be a devastating combination. A massive explosion happens, and it throws the heroes off their feet. And with them all softened up like this, the villains now close in for the kill. And the heroes prepare themselves for what looks like to be their last stand. But suddenly they hear an order coming from behind them. Professor Xavier is telling his X-Men to attack, and he tells them to press hard since the villains' power exceeds their own. Another battle ensues, and Xavier telepathically guides his X-Men on oncoming dangers, and they all unleash their full powers on the villains. They all do their part, and as Storm uses her mutant powers to command the elements, everyone present is at awe at the primal forces at her disposal. Everyone apart from the God of Thunder Thor and the World Eater Galactus. But even he cannot ignore the raging gale which Storm summoned. And for a moment he ponders its possible significance, and concludes that to him it has none. But that slight moment of Galactus' attention drifting off to what's going on in his surroundings is exactly what Doctor Doom was waiting for. And he uses the extraordinary speed of his jump ship to spend some 22 million miles in one heartbeat, passing through the hull of Galactus' home ship. Back on the ground, Colossus, after having dealt with several villains all by himself, gets hurt by the Wrecker and his enchanted crowbar. Cyclops sees this happening and fires a wide optic blast at the villains, securing Colossus, who has ended up lying on the ground, and reverted back to his human form. The battered villains then struggle to their feet, and the Enchantress uses her magic to teleport them all out of there. The X-Men are fighting as if they are possessed, and this could be the villains' only chance of escape before they get overwhelmed even more. Titania disagrees with retreating and wants to go at them again, but the Absorbing Man tells her to shut up. With the villains gone, Xavier orders his X-Men to leave as well, and to head for their ship. Storm wants to get Colossus first before they leave, but Xavier tells her that he must not be moved. They have to get to the ship now. Cyclops tells Wolverine to move it, and as they are about to enter their ship, Nightcrawler tells Cyclops that he doesn't want to leave Colossus behind, but he tells him that the Professor will explain once they are back inside. Inside the ship, Magneto asks what they are whining about, since Colossus was obviously hurt badly and won't be of any use to them anymore. Wolverine tells him the X-Men stick together, and he, as a matter of fact, has no further use for scum like Magneto, regardless of the fact that Magneto uses powers to shield them from Galactus' attack on his stronghold. Magneto responds by saying that this is war. Professor Xavier then steps in. He explains that Colossus' injuries were so severe that moving him would probably kill him. He tells everyone about the healer in the village the heroes are staying at, who might be able to save Colossus' life. And he believes that Captain America and his band of heroes can be trusted enough that they will do Colossus no further harm. He then says that they will be most effective if they remain as an independent ally of Cap's forces. Move in and move out, keeping their distance, even if that means leaving Colossus behind temporarily. And he asks everyone if that is understood. Back at the village, the heroes return from yet another battle and bring home their injured companions. Shashi runs towards Johnny, calling out his name and saying something in her language. Johnny figures that she's saying how scared she was, and he tells her that he was as well. Iron Man then tells Johnny that they have a badly injured man here, referring to Colossus, and asks him to get his healer girlfriend to come take a look at him. Johnny tells Iron Man that he will try and do so, but he's not so sure if she can even help a mutant, because genetically they are not exactly ordinary humans. Iron Man then makes a snide remark, mocking Johnny by saying that he will try to get his head around a guy who can burst into flames, doubts that his girlfriend from a different planet can help a mutant, and that it's a good thing that he isn't black. Johnny, who doesn't know it's not the Caucasian Tony Stark in the Iron Man armor, but actually Tony's African American friend James Rhodes, tells him to knock it off because that is not how he meant it. In the meantime, Shashi is taking a look at Colossus, and he asks her what she's doing, and tells her to leave him alone. He then gets told that she's just trying to help, but Colossus, still in agony, tells her that he doesn't want any help. Shashi looks shocked at how Colossus turns away from her, and she then moves over to Spider-Man, trying to help him instead. Iron Man asks Colossus if he is happy now, because he just placed himself back in line and he really needs help. Johnny says that Colossus is nuts and that they, meaning the X-Men, possibly all are. Shashi managed to heal up Spider-Man and he says that her treating him felt really good. Johnny compliments Shashi on her excellent work and Iron Man tells him that she looks gorgeous. Colossus notices as well, and also how she and Johnny seem to be head over heels with one another. He wonders why that troubles him so much and why he can't picture his own girlfriend Kitty in his mind right now. He picked up Shashi's name from the conversations and finds himself not liking how she's looking at Johnny in a certain way. Still hurt, he then screams out in pain and Iron Man tells him to hold on. Shashi runs towards them and says something to Johnny. He realizes her duty calls her and he flies off and tells her he will see her later again. And Shashi starts healing Colossus. He starts feeling better immediately and thanks her for her help. Not that far removed, Mr. Fantastic and Captain America discuss on what to do next while they observe what Galactus is doing. Reed knows it will take Galactus some time to complete the assembly he's working on, but there's no telling how long that will take exactly. Cap asks what will happen when Galactus is done, and Reed guesses that Galactus plans on consuming this entire planet, most likely destroying it in the process. Captain America then finishes Reed's sentence by saying that thereby Galactus will be winning the Beyonders game, but Reed tells him he doubts it will be that simple. He can tell that Galactus is calculating, that he's planning something. He can just feel it. Cap wonders what it will be, and also what Dr. Doom is up to. He wonders why Doom was not with his little army when they got attacked by them. But Dr. Doom is on a different mission entirely. He is standing awestruck and transfixed inside Galactus' home ship. His mind cannot grasp what his eyes are seeing. Even with a magnificent mind as his, the place he finds himself in is beyond anything he's ever laid eyes on. And for all his intellect and knowledge, he cannot grasp what he is seeing. Minutes pass before he can even utter a word. Where he at first thought that the technology, the vessel which brought him here, was leaps beyond anything he had ever encountered, he now understands that even that ship was only but a toy compared to what he beholds inside Galactus' planet ship. And Doom himself is like a minuscule virus to this world he now walks on. Lesser men than Doom would most likely simply blind themselves, or fall to their knees and worship, or possibly not even react at all. But not Victor Von Doom. Doom will find an answer here. Not only that, but he will find a way here, a way for the virus to grow stronger, to overwhelm this mighty pulsing world ship. And then he will overcome Galactus himself, and after that he will even overcome the Beyonder. And by then, answers will be of no concern, because all that will simply be is his will. But then, as he walks around, Dr. Doom finds something he did not expect at all, and his interest is piqued. Thanks for watching this video and I hope you enjoyed it. You can help growing this channel by liking, subscribing and sharing. This tells YouTube that the videos I'm making should be recommended to others and would be very much appreciated. See you next episode.